Welcome back, y'all. Kind of big things happening now. So, if you aren't aware haven't seen the post, I did take the car out on a road trip just to get the final break-in miles on it, and not really final. I mean, it's all arbitrary numbers. Some say 3,000, some say 1,000. Others say like that after 100 miles you're not going to get any more broken in, and blah 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 blah. Whatever. So I've got roughly about 800 miles on it right now on the new engine, and I decided to take it on a long road trip. As you'll if you saw, I went to Bucky's, which is about a 4 hour drive from here, so roughly 200 miles or so. I just avoided the highways, and so that I would have enough stop go, kind of slow down, going through the RPM range and varying those a little bit, so I didn't stay at one constant speed for forever. So did that, but I also got to enjoy some back roads, which is pretty cool. But anyway, it is now time. Like I will say, it was kind of interesting on the way there. Not that it was bad. It was all like car went without a hitch. Didn't lose any oil. Didn't lose any water. Like never overheated. Never even got close to it. In fact, I had to on the way back home had to slow down because temperatures were getting a bit too cool for my liking. So I had to slow down to get those every time I came to a stoplight, though. Like, thankfully, after about 30 minutes or so of me noticing the temperatures, I started getting into more traffic lights. So, temperature or car sat and rested, and temps were able to climb a little bit. But I had not one instance of a misfire on that road trip, and the only feedback or knock feedback, sorry, only instance I had was of negative 1.4, and that was when I was downshifting um, to get into another speed zone. So absolutely flawless. Even going uphill, I stayed in boost just to get it exercising a little bit, but also just to test my foot going uphill, and it did perfectly fine. I was able to control it to about 3 psi, which was pretty cool to hear the turbo in action again. But yeah, so now we are back, and it's time to take the car to the shop to get tuned. And now, this is where the big update comes, the kind of secret, unless you guys have all figured it out. Um, so, going to the shop to get it tuned, and unfortunately, through some trial and error and whatnot, not really trial and error, just kind of trying to navigate routes to see what was available. I called Cobb. Cobb couldn't do anything for me just because of the whole EPA scandal that they went through and their fine and whatnot. So basically, as it sits, if I were to revert the car back to essentially factory, I've got TGV deletes and all this nonsense and blah blah blah. Um, Go back, get a catted downpipe, all that fun jazz. Turn it back into a street car rather than what it is now, which I would say is more dedicated to the track than anything. Um, Spending the thousands that it would cost to do that, and then finally be able to get tuned on here. Plus, I would have to get the green ethanol, whatever the heck that is. I don't know the Cobb kit that's for um, the the revised version of that stuff. But Cobb also doesn't sell the software anymore for being able to um, disable codes and whatnot. So that is a stickler on me. So rather than doing that, since the car is essentially a track car now, and I'm not reverting back to anything because that would just cost way too much money and way too much time, I have decided to go with a standalone. And it's not the cream of the crop or anything like that. It is just the Link G4X plug-in for the car. And again, this was something that I had an issue with too, because my car, when I got the Exoneering blip kit, um, my car has the '07, so it's by VIN it's an '06, but my car has the '07 drive-by-wire throttle connector. So I had to get the '07 version of that. And then when I pulled out the stock ECU, because the '06 and '07, there's two different pin layouts for one of the connectors. So I had to check that out, and lo and behold, I have the '07 version of the ECU as well. So I had to get that. But yeah, so basically now that I have this, although it was a little bit of money and it's going to cost something up front to be able to, get tuned and whatnot, I also now don't have to deal with the hassle of trying to find someone that can tune on Cobb or anything like that. Plus, who knows if Cobb's ever going to come out again with the stuff that they used to be able to, the capability that it used to have. So now I have that, but this also opens the door to a whole lot of motorsports related features. So I can set safeties and have anti-lag if I really wanted to do that once I get money to replace the turbo every so often. And then a whole lot of inputs and whatnot can go into it. I can also do a whole bunch of CAN bus stuff. So it really is just a gateway. Not like anybody that I could go to a shop and anybody that knows the linked software can tune the car. And as far as I've been looking, even though I'm not actually going to do it just yet anyway, the software doesn't seem to be all that difficult. And the kit that I got is also, it's so like I said, it's just the plug-in. So literally just take the casing, the factory ECU casing, take it out, unbolt it, take the stock computer out, or the motherboard out, whatever you want to call it, and then put this board in. And the connectors on this are the exact same as they are on the factory board. And then it's just a matter of doing all the calibrations, setting the timing, and getting it going. So we'll see how long it takes, but I am more than ready for it. And just as some added features, so I was going to try and get the stock cruise control stock to work again, but it is very bulky, and I just decided, not going to deal with that. So what I did, and excuse the non-perfectionist thing that this is, but I have a toggle switch to just say activated and not activated for cruise control, and then either of these buttons will be used for setting cruise control. And then I haven't decided yet on whether I want to have one of the features that I want to have is rolling anti-lag, just for fun on the street. Now I don't know whether I want it to be triggered by one of these two buttons, or if I want to have it triggered by one of the buttons on the steering wheel, such as this, and then just use this one as the horn. And I don't really hate doing this, but you guys probably get annoyed by it, but I rewatched the Rat Rod Supra videos by Cletus, and they turned the washer fluid button into the trigger for rolling anti-lag, which that's an idea too. If I can, I'll talk to the tuner about that and see if that can happen. But that is that. And then another thing that I've been thinking about is getting the CAN keypad. I don't know whether I would go with a 4 or an 8 button, but just to put some stuff on that and just get more features out of it. And then also, if the access port doesn't work anymore, so I'll still have usability of the OBD2 port. So hopefully the access port can still work for the purposes of looking at all the looking at parameters like my fuel pressure, the knock feedback. What do I use most of it for? Well, coolant temp as well. But basically all that. If it doesn't work, then Link has their own gauge that actually is able to show up to 6 parameters like that. So that'll have to wait and see what can be done. But otherwise, yeah, got the fuel right here. So this is E85. I got just over half a tank of 93 in there. So should have plenty for a blend. And then obviously they'll tune it to whatever the blend is, and then if the blend gets once the calibration is set and the computer knows the ratio, I can, if I get more content after that, obviously the computer will compensate and we'll be good to go. So yeah, but one thing I almost forgot about, was I wanted to go over here. I replaced the spark plugs, then I changed the oil, obviously, because that's what you do when you're getting ready to go tune. You put in the fresh stuff. So here are the spark plugs. Now, this is a whole new set after replacing number 3 solely. So I replaced number 3, checked it, and then I replaced all of them, and then I just kind of let it sit. So, like I mentioned, the first 20 miles were absolutely horrid, and I actually ended up burning out the spark plug for cylinder number 3. All the other ones were pretty dark, but I mean, they were still running, but the car obviously couldn't operate. So, this is, these are all of them in order, so I got 1 through 4, and yeah, I don't know. I know I said I learned quite a little bit about spark plugs, but honestly, I don't know what I'm looking at. I do know the porcelain's not burnt out on this one, or any of them, much like the one for cylinder 3 was after the first tune. But the crazy part is this is the result of the spark plugs. Like I said, I had no instances of misfiring or anything like that. The only codes that ended up popping up were the evap system, and that's because I don't have a hose to that, but it also doesn't affect anything, so it is whatever. But yeah, so all the spark plugs, that was after, oh, I'm gonna say, well, no, because it's been in since 20 miles, so yeah, like we're looking at like 700 or something miles on these spark plugs, which is pretty darn insane. But yeah, the only bad thing is that the tune that I'm running them on is obviously for the old motor, but also uh, the air fuel mixture was quite a bit by the gauge, was quite a bit rich. It was sitting at about 13.8 to 13.9, maybe roughly going into 14s here and there. But at idle, it was fine. It was just under throttle that it would go rich, and it was perfectly stoic at idle. So there's that. And then just for funsies, I also, because if you remember, I had a accident with the compressor housing here, and I had to get that repaired. That was done free of charge, thankfully, because it took the guy like 5 minutes, as I had previously stated. But I also decided to, just for fun, get the jet fighter, quote unquote, the T51R compressor housing that Precision offers. So we will see what that is like. Thankfully, it's not supposed to affect the performance of anything. So I'll get the car tuned on the S cover housing that has been on the car for forever, and then go from there. And this shop also fixed the header. So with them having been able to fix the header, I also believe I'll be able to get the Gymkhana exhaust put onto it here pretty soon. So there's a lot of cool things about to happen, and I am more than excited to see how this car operates. I mean, I believe the iWire kit has helped out tremendously, so I can only imagine. I changed out this bolt because I had one of these coated bolts holding on the iWire kit. I put on a uncoated bolt. Well, I don't know, a bare bolt if you want to call it that, and put the held down the iWire with that now. So we'll see if that improves anything. But I feel like this car is about to be, again, completely different. I know it's difficult to explain to some, and some people just look at you weird. But I will say, upon coming home, like, not that the drive there was terrible, but definitely on the way back, I could tell that the engine was just, it was it was good. Um, Piston rings have found their home. Everything's great. Uh, it's kind of interesting, as I was talking to a buddy the other day. It's very, very interesting to see a car from like when the engine is brand new, and there's a gap. Uh, between the cylinder wall and the ring, so you get a bunch of smoke that comes out the tailpipe for a few miles. To see it go from that to no smoke whatsoever, and just the trials and errors that you go through, like all the bugs that you got to fix afterwards. I just forgot about all this stuff, so it's actually very cool to have gone through all of that. But I know the car is ready, just because it's hard to say, it's hard to explain, but the engine just wanted to rev on the way back, so I had to keep myself from pushing the throttle too hard. But the car is also entering with the standalone, with the well, it's not really a standalone, but with the upgraded ECU. I have a feeling it's about to be a completely different car yet again, because as far as I am aware, the resolution of the configuration tables is a lot larger. Kind of like going from for people that are used to TVs, because that's probably the most relatable thing. Probably kind of something like going from 480 to 720, or 480 to 1080p, maybe to 4K. I don't know, doubt it, but regardless, the car should run a lot smoother and a whole lot more capability, safety features, so that if the coolant temp this time gets too high, I can either limit the rev range for the engine, or I can have the car completely shut off. Just, I don't know, a whole new world. So here we go, y'all. I know I'm rambling now, but it's off to take the car to the shop, and next time y'all see a video will be from me picking up from tuning. So until then, y'all, stay driven.